Good evening, good evening. Man, I forgot to put the logo up there. Anyhow, Grandmaster Jerry Fast Feed Fontanas. So I want to address an issue that I think is not a big thing, but it's important. I know there's a bunch of people that would love to compete, and they really, really shouldn't compete. And a lot of them did. There are some people that, if you do compete, it's dangerous for your life. Whether it's a heart condition or another injury that's not worth jeopardizing yourself in terms of competition. So when I speak about people who do not have those situations, that walk around like the killers, and in my case, at the tournament, they said they're going to come to judge, and I had 40 judges. Now, legitimately, some of them, they don't have the best memory, so maybe some forgot, since the standards have changed, that they were supposed to be in a uniform. But the OGs, the original OGs, such as two in particular. One was Grandmaster William Mallory. Thank you, sir. He's the one. And Grandmaster Spider Rodriguez. Those were the two gentlemen that reminded me that the judging at tournaments used to have martial arts uniforms on, gis, or kung fu uniforms, or what have you. So when they mentioned that, I said, aha, they're correct. I agree. I concur. That's the way it should be. It's been years. I know in tournaments today, they got these little polo shirts, or t-shirt, or in the traditional circuit, they have these blazers on, and none of that stuff to me, it's martial arts. Now, I did at one point make referee tops that were rec suits for the possibility of people who didn't have uniforms, so they could put that on over, so at least they look like an official. And that's the real thing. In order to have a successful operation in martial arts, we got to know who the judges are, who the competitors are, and so on and so forth, and even what the rules are. As an example, I'm going to give a rule. Also, so before I digress. So when I say that you robbed me, it's because you put on the dotted line, you called me, you said that you were going to judge. Now, this is a minority group, guys. It is a minority group. I won't lie that it's the majority. It's a minority. And then, at the tournament, when I was calling and looking directly at you guys, when it was time to judge, I'm not going to get into a fight with somebody. I'm not going to do that. But I did replace all the judges at 1 point, 2 points, 3 points, I think. So what I'm saying is that if you're going to judge, cool, judge. But I'd rather have you compete. Because there's judges, first of all, if you're a judge, don't you ever dare put your hands on a competitor to move them back or what have you. When people do that to me, I get so pissed off because how dare you? And that's when it makes my mind start going to something negative. Like, who the hell does this freaking guy think he is? Oh, because someone put him in a position as a judge? Who the freaking is this guy? Then I know the history. And if I don't know the history, it makes it worse. I'm thinking, this freaking nobody? Yeah, I say that in my head. What the freak this guy think he is? Just because he has some stupid belt? Freaking. And then if I speak to the guy, they're normally dumb. If I don't know them, that's a little challenging because call me arrogant or whatever you like. I know quite a few people in the martial arts world and vice versa. So I get a little worrisome when I see people that I never knew. And these people are on this mission, to do things that aren't consistent with my goals. And my goals is just to inspire people to live longer, to have some fun. Life is so short, and if we focus on the things that make us feel bad, or I should say, I can start crying right now, probably die of a broken heart when I think about things that I miss and people that I miss and things that how the world has changed so much. And the fact of the matter is that so can you. So we get a choice to focus on something that's good. And to me, the Unified Martial Arts Network, UMAN, we need UMAN, man and woman, same thing. OGs, all the guys and all the girls. I am a fan of everyone who competed. I appreciate all of you who judged. and I know some of you wanted to do more, and we'll work on that. The spectators was phenomenal. Timekeepers and scorekeeper, everybody, us one, everyone collectively did a wonderful thing in the test market. However, I would be lying if I didn't say the truth. I think some people got over in the fact that if you want to spectate, pay a spectator fee. I'll give you an example. Of all people, old sensei, Felix Vasquez, oh my God, a true living legend. But he's also a true living legend fan. He paid as a spectator, had 5 of his black belts paid as spectators. Yes, I gave him a discount, and they didn't ask me for that. They did not. They did not. But that was my mistake. But I did it with good intentions. And that's what they did. If you pay for a spectator, you're not supposed to be judging. And I'd rather have you go out there and enjoy yourself. Like Swift, my man. He was having a ball, taking pictures and hanging out. And that's what it's about, as a spectator. However, if you say you're going to judge, and then once you came in, you didn't have your uniform, and let's say for some reason you didn't get the memo that you needed a uniform. No problem. That's a possibility. But if you got the memo, didn't bring a uniform, and then didn't even judge, oh, man, come on. What is that about? Why do we need you there? I had someone like Toki Hill, the legendary Toki Hill, come all the way from Ohio, and do you know what he did, which was incredible? He made a donation. Yes, I'll say it. He made a donation. And the donation was a lot more than what anybody else would have paid to compete. And that was a sign of love. Same thing. I had people come, using Ohio again. Anthony Cruz. He came to help judge. Oh my God, he came with his family. So I did whatever I can to make sure things, there he goes, to make sure that things work out. I just try to do the right thing by people and give them the best opportunity to have a wonderful, wonderful experience. And that's what happened. So I'm not discouraged at all, but I got to keep the balance. The same way when somebody was out of line at the tournament, I nipped it in the bud. Why? Because we're not here for that. And by the way, the gentleman who we actually had to take out of the tournament, he was in the right. He scored on somebody. The person hit him late, and then he retaliated. So at that point, if it would have ended there, no problem. The other guy probably would have got either a warning or got disqualified, depending on, the decision of the judges and myself. However, when he kept going and over and over, that's when he was overboard at that point. So I had to go in there and extract the poison, so to speak. There was also a time where we had, for no reason, people judging people from their school. Why? To avoid nonsense. So I waited till the division was over. At least it was only one of 5 judges, right? And then what I did was I changed all the judges, all of them, just to make sure that we had a refresher. So yes, there were quite a few things. For example, we never ran all 6 rings at the same time, but that's okay, because people were enjoying themselves, and it wasn't like those midnight tournaments that we used to go to. But we got there, early in the morning, and at midnight we were competing. We had a chance to hang out with our family and friends. So there were quite a few things that I did not like about it, but most people didn't get it. Like, I don't like the fact that I don't even know who gave me this. I have no idea who gave me this, and I want to thank them. But there's nothing written here. Now, this is painted. I'm like, oh my God, man, thank you, thank you, thank you. I don't even know who gave me the equipment that I ended up sharing with some people. So please, guys, if you know who it is, let me know, because I'm grateful. So, it's just crazy, because the truth of the matter is that so many people came from so far away. A family of 3 drove from, of all places, Alabama. And I thought that might have been the furthest trip. Nope. The furthest trip, or by car maybe, because we had people driving from Florida. But the truth of the matter is that some of the people who competed, for example, the gentleman who was a little out of whack, he never competed before, and we don't know what people are going through. We do not know what people are going through. It triggers off some things, even though it's just a game. As a matter of fact, when you get scored on, you should be happy, because that person's showing the defense or I should say a weakness in your defense, because it's not fighting. These are rules, right? This is a facsimile of it. And no one's trying to really get hurt. For example, the only so-called hurt thing I saw, one of them, there were three things. One was a busted nose, which, it happens. Look at my nose. It used to be straight. It wasn't like it was 2 days late. It was a combination. I saw the match, so, I don't know if I would have called it late, but there's a possibility if you got a hit, maybe I called it late. But it wasn't like they said, stop, and then boom. But besides that, the other two injuries were almost comedy, and they entailed one of the legendary fighters, where he got off balance, he fell on somebody else's knee or leg, and then, literally, a few minutes after, not too long after, he throws a kick and pulls a muscle. The art of fighting without fighting can still hurt you. So there's a lot of moments. I was just in Brooklyn with a gentleman who competed, and he was so excited and can't wait until the next event. And yes, the next event is February 7th of next year. Just long enough to get you back, but not too long where you forgot. We had to deal with the summer being what would be the challenge for people training. Because the last tournament, I announced it in June. It happened in September 20th, 2025, the historical day where everything went back to the future. Why do I say back to the future? Because we were already in Madison Square Garden. We were already on ESPN TV and ABC and so on and so forth. So we're going to go back to those things, I believe, or if not the equivalent to that. Because some of the viewers get thousands and thousands of views. Who knows? So there's a lot of moving parts behind the scenes that are being made in order for everyone to benefit. That's why I keep saying us one. For example, if you notice right down there, there's a video today with another song. Another song, yes, because I think that in songs, we can give people both education and inspiration. And that's why I want to leverage that. Now, it just so happens that I'm pretty good at it, so it makes life a little, easier. So that is my sweat equity. And I'm really excited. I was on the phone today with someone from Louisiana, and boy, is he excited. And he has a situation where he can't be in two places at the same time, but he's trying to figure it out. In other words, he registered for the event. On that note, guys, register, because if you register, you're going to get over $1,200 worth of bonuses right now. You'll be able to compete in multiple divisions and get additional bonuses. So make that move before October 31st. The sooner the better. But he lives in Louisiana, happens to be legendary in the hip-hop world because he was the first person from that area that was signed on Atlantic Records. It's way before Master P and Cash Money Records, So Kuiper, legendary. He came to compete at the tournament, came with his wife, and literally on that same day there's a tournament, meaning February 7th, in one of the cities in Louisiana. I'm not sure which one it is, Baton Rouge maybe. Wait, I'm just guessing. However, he's trying to figure out if somebody can cover for him over there so he can come to New Jersey again. I should say come to New Jersey. Come to the Boogie Down Bronx again. So it's that type of thing that people are so excited they're doing whatever they can to make sure they come to the Boogie Down Bronx, which is not an easy thing to do. To get people to come from all over the country to come compete in the Bronx, oh my God. But they had a ball. The LPAC Center, 170th and Jerome Avenue, may not be the ideal place until you get there. And you realize, oh my God, this is a great gym. This is cool. It was a pleasant experience for everyone. Now, the most recent song, you see, I'm focusing on the women. And it's not, by far, this is not the last song or video or anything like that. So behind the scenes, a lot of things are happening, and it's really to make all your guys look better, meaning I am promoting the individuals and not the tournaments, not the tournament circuit. No one ever did that for me, but so what? I know how it feels to have to earn some income, and publicity helps you do that. I envision people doing commercials throughout the country because they might be sponsored by some of those companies in the age bracket. The average age was 65, guys. 65 was the average age. Oldest competitor was 85. That's not a market that normally does martial arts, and they're doing it at the high level, the OGs. So that being the case, I'm excited. Yes, there's times in the day where I get exhausted because the phone sometimes rings off the hook. Sometimes I have to speak to multiple people a short time. Then sometimes I have to speak to one person as long as they want to speak. And yes, I visited people's homes recently that I normally have not done in the past. But I show and I have the appreciation. Now, as far as the patches go, you guys are asking me about the patches. The patches absolutely work. It works towards the brain, so that means it alleviates pain, helps you with weight loss. It all depends on what your situation. So, if you want to put there in the bottom, answer this. What's your pain? What's your pain? In other words, what would help you if you alleviated this thing? Maybe you need more energy. None of this stuff is pills. None of it is lotion potions. None of it is, as somebody had posted, snake oil. All of it is state-of-the-art technology because your skin reads codes such as heat, pain, and cold. But you also have codes, meaning like a braille for the brain to help you perform. So you've seen those videos when I put the patch on. First I check someone's balance going forward. I check their balance going to the side, and you can see how they're not sturdy at some point before. Then I put the patch on them in a matter of seconds because it's quicker than Wi-Fi, as they say, and it is. And I check that same exact posture, and I can't move the person, and they're like fascinated. Oh my God! And then I take it off, and they go back to the mere mortal again. So these patches last 24 hours. They're $1.60 when you get them on order ship. It depends on your situation. I have a few people right now that are concerned about their energy because they have kidney problems, and when they go through dialysis, it becomes a little, difficult for them to get the energy. So there is one for the people who are addicted to those energy drinks. Oh, those are so dangerous for your body and your heart. And we have something for that too. It's called Boost. So the bottom line is that I believe that all of us have an opportunity to tap into our true potential, and you just need support, and you just need what I would consider a platform. So like that, they don't look at you like a old man, grandfather, grandma. No. The oldest person who competed was 85. The average age was 65. And the most packed division was 65 to 69. And those are all my heroes because they did not talk about it. They took action and made it happen. And I'm going to do this in different parts of the country because there's OGs, older guys and girls, throughout the nation, actually throughout the world. And we're going to get them going. We're the forgotten ones. We're the ones that, like when people talk about tournament circuits, I'm like, I was here before the tournament circuit. I was here literally before the biggest tournament circuit that started in 1987 after they changed from what was the foundation of Karate Illustrated. And I was rated 1983. Should have been rated 82. They messed up the points. And it happened. My point is that I'm not coming from a spectator. I am us. Still a competitor. Fighting in forms. One grand champion. Sometimes same tournament. Promoter. Yes. You see the flyer of 2008 where I threw 3 tournaments that year. Not counting Bolton, England. Not counting 2007 when we first made UMAN and we did the first We Mean Business seminar. So there's a lot of history. And if you go further back, 1997, I even did a documentary because that's when I noticed that the tournament circuits were getting rid of the so-called 30-year-olds. Like we were old at 30. Well, back then 35 was senior, believe it or not. And then they started this 30-39 division, but I noticed what they were doing. They were giving competitors less money than they had done previously 20 years before. So I wrote an article in conjunction, I should say, I did a joint venture 2-part article with Kevin Thomas. It was called Back to the Future. And in Back to the Future, I explained some of the particulars. For example, how Chuck Norris, one of his Chuck Norris top team members, Darnell Garcia, was adamant because he won in the 1974-75 tournament, he won $500. Imagine that. I gave $500 the other day, and that was like a lot compared to people never even made that in recent years over here in New York. But my point is that he was upset because the previous year's grand champion winner had earned $1,000. So going back to the future, I was educating people on those facts. Part 1 and Part 2 of On Point magazine. You guys can get it. I'm sure Kevin Thomas has archives, or maybe we'll do something with that. My point is that I'm not new to this thing. I started April 19th, 1976 in Murukwan, Tangsudo with Supreme Grandmaster Sang Soo Tiger Kim. But by the time I got there, I already had the full split, because when I saw 5 Fingers of Death, I caught the fever. And the fever was the iron fist, like Lo Lee. Yeah, they made fun of me. They used to shoot at me, cops and robbers. I used to block with the iron fist. I'm sure you guys will understand. That was in 1971. Before that, I saw this guy named Kato. Ooh, that was phenomenal. Incredible. And then now, for some reason, Tarzan was part of the whole thing. And then the TV show Kung Fu with David Carradine years after. My point is that I am a karate fever boy. And, I got to the point where not only did I become a top-rated competitor as a teenager, fighting people 10 and 20 years older than me and beating most of them, just historical fact, I also became an instructor. First, I invented a thing called New York's Finest Karate Academy back in 1982, right here in 161st Street in Park Avenue in the Bronx. And I got blue uniforms, K.I., K.Inola, from California. That was 1982. And then in 1988, I started New York's first sport karate training center, because I wanted to teach people how to fake, reposition, and do techniques that I knew worked in competition. The longest name for a karate school. And that was on Westchester Avenue. Had that for 9 years. Sold out operation, relocated to New Jersey. Eventually upstate New York first to Fishkill and Wappingers Falls, where there was a Fonteness Karate School there. I changed it to Fonteness Karate, by the way, in 1990. So for two years. But New York's first sport karate training center was actually EFC's, Educational Funding Company's, New School of the Year. The most achieved New School of the Year. So we were like Rookie of the Year back in 1988 to 89. First fiscal year, we had 100 students, which was crazy. I was able to earn 6 figures that year for the first time. Legally, teaching martial arts. And then by 1994, there was 5 locations with my name on there. At one point, there were 6 locations, 5 actual schools, and 1 that was a club. The club had 60 people because we followed the directions. And there was 1,000 students at one point. So we would go to tournaments with 200 competitors, 300, 400, 500 spectators, a big army. And they all did phenomenal. We used to win just about every division because we had a curriculum for sparring also, not just for forms, not just for weapons, not just for self-defense. So Fonteness Karate, which today, when I relocated to New Jersey, I switched it to Fonteness Martial Arts, and we started adding some grappling and some Filipino stuff, and just other things that made it more of the martial arts umbrella, because all of a sudden the word karate, because of MMA, karate wasn't effective until it became effective, and then it became like the secret weapon, and then some of the point fighters started fighting and winning, the Raymond Daniels of the world, and also the MVP, Michael Venom Page. And yes, you got to give credit to Wonder Boy Steve Thompson, even though his style wasn't really blitzing as much. He did blitz also, but he was like a horse stance from the side, like a modern day Bill Wallace, Super for Wallace, where these other guys were a lot more mobile. But regardless, it still came from the foundation of distance fighting. So in 2014, I said, you know what? If they're doing point karate with the extended glove to the shoulder, things that were like happening that I just didn't like, then we must have done something different. So that's when I came up with the concept of sniper fighting and sniper forms and sniper weapons. In other words, sharp, precise, and on point. That's the key. So yes, as Fernando is mentioning, he knew the students. Now Fernando was a very, very incredible competitor. Him and his brother, and my son and my little brother, they were they were like cousins with the ears. But I also made sure that I paid homage to my extended families. In other words, I would take trips, in this particular case, with the junior schools with Marcus Willamore and Leonidas Lopez, and Fernando was there and a bunch of people. And we used to go together to junior tournament, together as a group. So the fact of the matter is that we have a lot of history. That's why when I say us one, I really mean it. So people who came to compete at the tournament, and, they really, really made a world of a difference. Now, today, when I see people who are in pain and they can't function like the way they want to, because they had strokes or what have you, And I'm excited. So now you see all these videos and people calling me, sending me messages. I literally only have one package left physically myself, and I might have to keep it, because I don't want to lose out on this stuff. But when it comes down to it, literally, we can really help you get better. Imagine being a champion at age 75 and you started at 65, and for 5 years you was a white belt. Let's say you started at white belt and you started competing, because it's underbelts too, and you got to the point where you got rated, and then you became an intermediate competitor and you got rated, and then you became an advanced competitor and you got rated. Well, after 5 years of that, you will become a pioneer. Yes, why not? Because pioneers are the people who put time and produce the results in this new circuit. 10 years, you're a legend. Why do I say that? Based on the results, because literally, when you look at the original legends, they did not last 10 years. Mr. Norris did not compete for 10 years. Of course, Mr. Stone, Mike Stone, and Chuck Norris did not compete more than 10 years, or even 10 years. So I can justify that. And we are revolutionizing the industry because we're going back to basics. The sweep is allowed here, whether it's the front leg or the rear leg. It's allowed. So if you start teaching the kids how to sweep, meaning the elders start teaching the kids how to sweep and do techniques, and there isn't a place for those kids to compete, that's kind of sad, right? So stay tuned, because something will be announced this Friday. So what I'm saying, guys, is that the best is yet to come. I completely appreciate that you guys are having enough trust in me in our operation. The Unified Martial Arts Network is here to stay. The OGs, the older guys and the girls, the Fountain of Youth tour will commence February 7th. 2026 in the Boogie Down Bronx, and it'll go nationwide, so stay tuned for all of that. In the meantime, if you're interested in, people are asking me for samples of these patches. I'm saying I don't have samples where I'm going to be able to send you, and the company doesn't do that. However, what they do is that they have 100% money back guarantee. So if for some reason it doesn't work for you, get your money back. But we're not talking about a lot of money. At the high end, the retail will cost you $60 for 28 patches, which breaks down to $2.14. Anyone can afford that. And it lasts 24 hours. In other words, let's say you have a situation where your body really helps you. Well, if that's the case, then you literally, you got 24 hours of no pain. Man, can you imagine that? Ibuprofen doesn't work like that. No, I didn't get a new camera. What I got, actually, I can't believe I got sidetracked. I usually don't read these things. I got another phone, so maybe there is so it is a new camera, so it's a little sharper. We're working on things. We're trying to move on up to Bill Beeson level. He's the guy. He's the reason why I started even recording videos and sharing them. He did this about 15, maybe 20 years ago. They say you should start sharing them. So Beeson gets props for that. And props for, when I talk about sweeps, not too many people who were better sweepers than Billy Beeson. Monster. And also inspirational. No, because he literally, guys, listen, we're having a canine party here right now, so I'm gonna have to go. No, it's the same lighting. It's just the actual camera is a newer camera, so the phone's a little better, I guess. But anyhow, guys. So you hear the dogs. Who let the dogs out? I'm not sure. So on that case, I'm gonna have to. We got a little cameo here for someone who came in.
Hi.
Oh gosh. All right, wait. Let me show you guys the animal house. We're dog sitting this guy.
Yeah, and then this is the new one over here.
The new one's there.
Y después la loquita de mami.
Oh my gosh. So,
Hey, stop, wait.
animal house. So we got Coco, who's the original, right? And then we have Mila. By the way, Mila happens to be my daughter-in-law's name.
She already had the name when I got her.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So I don't want you guys to think that she's a dog, because she's not. She's a sweetheart. But where is she? Where's the other one?
La otra está
And the other one's a jumper.
She's hiding. She's jumping.
She's hiding?
Bendito, she's under you.
Okay, so we are...
She wants attention.
Okay, well, turn.
Come here, mama.
She must be in the military. So you guys, you see what I'm dealing here with, right? And you know the crazy thing? We're getting ready to give the dog goes back tonight when we're dog sitting. But then I got these 3 women I'm gonna have to be with.
Mila, come here.
Sonia, listen. If you're not in the business, I would love to do the business with you because we want to bring some of that energy we did with Willie and the crew when we did Isogenics. So hopefully you haven't done it yet and I'll go visit you because this is one thing I'm 1,000% behind because it's helping people already. I'm into this stuff. But, guys, the sneakers, yeah, I got, oh my gosh. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we still have a size 9 and 10. I forgot to announce it again. But yeah, these are the sneakers. I have them on right now. Yeah, we're the first ones ever martial arts to have sneakers. Jazz, are we going to see you tomorrow? You've mentioned Wednesday. Yeah, so this is the 9s.
No, these are the 9s.
And these are the 10s. So
these are the 10s.
So they are available for even pick up here or we can ship them to you with no problem. So it's the 9 and the 10. Yeah, exactly. Family stress is real. But listen, today I was having a conversation with a testimony from Mr. Armin Sterling, who happens to be a green belt and is trained with a variety of people that all you guys know. And this is the other lady, by the way.
This is my other lady. She was
That's
scared
me.
because I had my sweater on, but I was telling her it's okay.
Yeah, and she's only a year old, so we're going to have... it might be a little bit of wisdom with 2 dogs now. Anyhow, so Armin... We were having a conversation. I should say he sent a message of a testimonial of how things were. And I made that into a song. What? I had to, guys. I believe communications is through word of mouth, or I should say the speaking tongue. Or I forgot what they call it. Speaking word. Communications. So my point is that I want to communicate to all you guys. I am committed to making sure that I become the best promoter possible. But I can't do that without you because it's us. We're the ones that made the tournaments work. We're the ones that make the circuit work. And we're the ones that are going to work together to make sure that you get as much shine as possible in whatever you do because you are my heroes. You didn't talk about it. You actually stepped up to the plate. You started swinging. Some of you guys missed. You kept swinging. Eventually, you got the home run. So I am committed 1,000% to becoming the best martial arts promoter of all time, and my mentors happen to be great grandmaster Aaron Banks. In addition to that, yeah, it is a testimonial. In addition to that, actually he was sharing a story, which is a testimonial. Yeah, you're right. Great grandmaster Aaron Banks, who is by none to me in terms of mainstream media, the best promoter of all time. Then you have Mike Anderson, who started the PKA, top 10, not just the equipment, but tournaments, Waco. And he was the most revolutionary in terms of spreading martial arts, originally from Queens, New York, of all places, guys. And then we have Grandmaster Joe Corley. And that gentleman, to me, absolutely one of my favorite people in the world. He took over the PKA. He fought Bill Superfoot Wallace in the first title defense in 1974. They fought him again in 1985. And it's phenomenal. We literally have a whole bunch of stars and heroes. One of my superheroes right now just came on. And that's Shehan Tracy Seymour, who, oh my God, you know, she did phenomenal. She took grand champion runner-up. And I'll tell you right now, guys, when it comes to forms, when the women do it as good as the guys, they look better. At least, I believe. So, kudos. You know, the new video is out. It's focused on the ladies. The song is out. And I'm going to continue, guys, educating and motivating people for the purpose of what I would consider just exposing the world. So as Billy says, P.T. Barnum actually is the person that, Barnum and Billy Circuit, yeah, but P.T. Barnum was the entertainer that changed things. Believe it or not, he did a lot of stuff way before the circus, but what Banks was, he was mentored by a gentleman by the name of Joe Franklin when it comes to live shows, and Joe Franklin has the longest running talk show in the world, right? In addition to that, he was also mentored and partnered with a guy named Sid Bernstein. Sid Bernstein was the promoter that brought the Beatles to America, from Liverpool to America. And great grandmaster Aaron Banks did a joint venture deal with him. So that's why when the Beatles came to Shea Stadium in 1965, Banks put together a security team, and those were where the guys got the job. And then Sid Bernstein and Banks did a show at the Waldorf Astoria, exactly where all the presidents stayed and still do right now. Now it's called Trump. And literally, that place is where we saw the first world championships, according to some. And that's when the grand champion, the heavyweight was Joe Louis, the light heavyweight was Mike Stone, the middleweight was Chuck Norris, and the lightweight was Skipper Mullins. You know, so that's history. And then in addition to that, he also brought in Gogen Yamaguchi, the cat himself, to Manhattan Center. I'm not sure if that was in 67 or 68. I get confused on the two dates, but that's great Grandmaster Aaron Banks. So yes, he did get mainstream. And Banks believed this. If he could bring, he had a guy who catch a bullet with his teeth, because he had a cup, and they shot, was a marksman. So he said, why they come to see that extravaganza, that madness, they had a chance to see William Oliver, George Cofield, Sugar Crossan, etc., 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 William Louis. You cannot believe the people who Banks had an opportunity to expose to the world of martial arts, because he used every style. His original style was Shotokan with John Slocum. 1958, he started training with him. Banks got into a fight with a gentleman while he was working at the Carnegie record shop, which is also a bookstore right there on Broadway. And Banks fought. He didn't like the result. Wasn't that he got beat up, but he couldn't really beat the guy up. But he started taking martial arts lessons. And then he started training at the Chinatown Dojo. And that's when, with Grandmaster Peter Urban and company. So, he represented Goju. But he was the first one to leave the Goju operation because Gosei Yamaguchi, his son from California, wanted, he said that, his father said, you're doing a great job, but I don't want you to promote any other style but Goju. And Banks, coming from, he was born in Manhattan, raised in the Bronx. Great Grandmaster Aaron Banks was born in the Mount Sinai Hospital, just like me. And he grew up in the Bronx, just like me. So born in Manhattan, raised in the Bronx, same thing with me. And he grew up in the bebop era, I grew up in the hip-hop era. He was a singer, a dancer. I don't know how to sing, but I can almost MC, and I could definitely dance. The point is that we had a lot of commonality, even though he was many, many years older than me. And the reason why I was attracted towards Banks was because my instructor, Supreme Grandmaster Sang-Soo Tiger Kim, got on the wild world of sports because of Banks. And Banks threw a tournament every month at Sunnyside Gardens. So, you know, and just so you guys know, he was on my payroll almost for 4 years. And now that's not a disrespect. That's the opposite. I respected him so much that I gave him the trust to promote. And I got a lot of media attention during the early 1990s. He saw me also on the Regis show, what today is live with whoever it is, Kelly, or I'm not even sure because I don't watch that, but you guys, ABC's morning show. And that was when we were promoting the Oriental World of Self-Defense. And I wasn't even part of that. And that was over when he had dropped down to Gleason's gym. It was Gleason's Arena. Do you know that Great Grandmaster Aaron Banks was the only person in 1980 that HBO had a TV show? Or I should say a martial arts show. HBO only one time at martial arts, and it was the Oriental World of Self-Defense in 1980 because of Banks. And at the time, Banks literally was not too happy with that, you know, because literally he was on ABC, where he was partners with ABC, so ABC's paid him, and he was partnered with Madison Square Garden. They paid him. And yes, this is when Gleason's gym had moved over to Brooklyn, next to the Brooklyn Bridge, as Billy Beeson is mentioning. But even with that, when we did a continuous contact match one time with, I believe, it was the Spider Brand team, and I fought Stingo Garcia, very good fighter too, literally, that was still on what would have been the equivalent to cable TV for the time. I think it was Martial Arts World or something like that. Anyway, guys, I have to cut this short because the fact of the matter is that I went a lot further than I wanted to, but I just want to say is that the best is yet to come. I believe that wholeheartedly, and I want to thank you guys for believing in yourselves and believing in me. And all I can say is that I am committed 1,000% to making sure that you do the best you can, and I'm going to give you as many resources. I mean, it's up to you, but I'm going to promote you like it was me. And that's why I'm doing these videos. Coming soon, the first person that's going to have his own song and his own music video. And I'm only doing this because I am definitely a fan of Kiyoshi Tommy Chen. Stay tuned, guys. Tommy Chen, his first music video. And for those of you like Fernando who did your own music videos, please, 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 once I send you the music, do your own video, and we'll have a contest to see who has the best videos. AB. See ya. Bye-bye.